Nu cred!
Dă-te pula mea!
Nu cred, bă!
Ce s-a întâmplat, bă?
Am
Vrei să mă
urcat
ții pare acum să face nivelul?
Mai zice, bă,
Bă, ce...
Coai.
Hey guys, as most of you know, I finally managed to beat Slaughterhouse, a level that I've always dreamed of beating. This part of the video is divided into two parts. First, I'm gonna be ranking every single part in Slaughterhouse, and second, I'm going to talk about my experience with the level itself. I've tried making this as entertaining as possible since my Edge of Destiny video was a bit boring and long, but either way, I'm very happy with how the final product ended up being. A couple of things I wanna mention before I start ranking the parts. First of all, Ryzek and Iking plays, or any other guy that likes Slaughterhouse. Please don't bomb my house, as this video is my own opinion, alright? Thank you, I love you guys. Second of all, as for the creators of the level, this video is mostly a joke, so please don't take anything seriously, alright? Thank you. Alright, so before anything, I just want to mention that this part is easily the most boring part in the whole level. Like, you have to do fucking 7 frame perfect jumps or whatever you want to call them in a row while listening to this fucking banger. And trust me, listening to this for fucking 30,000 times is not fun. But of course there are some other people like Zaro and Water, 2 friends of mine. Zaro having 50,000 attempts and Water having 80,000 attempts. So yeah. One last thing before we move on to the next part is I gotta give credit to this part because it is actually pretty decent compared to other parts. This is the worst part in the level. If you've never played Slaughterhouse before, this part most likely looks very easy to you, but that is very, very wrong. And you know why? This is why. I hope I answered your question. But anyways, back to this now. I struggled with this part so fucking much, man. Like, every single day I would just pray that I would be consistent, but it was just never happening, no matter how much I played, man. And if you think it's just me being ass at one part, that is not true. Because take a look at this, man. As you can see, everyone is struggling with this part, and it's not even funny, man. There could be so much more I could say about this part, but I'm not going to because I don't want to make the video too long, so I'm gonna stop here. But all you need to know about this part is it's just RNG. That's it. Alright, now we're getting into the first wave. The first wave has two problems though. The 27% click and the inconsistency. Now, the 27% click is the hardest click in the first wave in my opinion. And yes, it's harder than 29%. I don't know what it was, man, but I just couldn't get consistent at this gap. While on the other hand, 29% got a lot more consistent than 27%. Now, for the consistency on this part, I had a really big problem. Like, there could be times that I could do the first wave 10 times in a row, and there could be times that I couldn't do it for 50 attempts in a row. Like, I don't know why, but it's just so weird. Like, I could not be consistent every single time. Like, for example, if I start a session, I keep warming up, I do good runs, and I just start playing from the first wave. And I try doing runs. I'll maybe do the first wave, I don't know, like 4 times, let's say. Then, out of nowhere, I am not gonna do it anymore for at least like 50 attempts. And that's why, most likely, I have a lot of wasted attempts on this part. Out of all the 3 waves, I can confidently say this is by far my least favorite one, just due to the lack of inconsistency, honestly. Before we move on to the next part, there is still one more thing I want to talk about. Alright, forget anything I said, this is the worst part in the level. Now, you're probably thinking that I officially lost my mind, but just hear me out for a second. I mean, all you have to do technically is just 2 jumps, which aren't that hard. Anyways, and also an auto part, which is, auto? I don't know. But now you're probably wondering, why am I finding this part so fucking miserable? Well, if we go back to the 16 parts, do you remember how I tried explaining that this part is absolute dog shit? Just try to imagine how hard the transition is gonna be when you have to pass those 2 clicks. If you didn't have to wait for 5 seconds for the drop to start, this part would be a lot better. Also keep in mind the fact that you also have to go through the whole pre-drop, through the most boring part of all time, and that makes the transition even harder than it should be. And trust me, dying to this over and over and over and over again is not fun. This part is the whole reason why my enjoyment goes from a 5 to a 0, bro. For me, this was definitely the hardest part. I don't care what anyone says. I suffered with this part so fucking much and it's so miserable. This is the only good part in the level, honestly, and it's also the easiest one. And also, before I start talking about this part, I just want to mention that you probably noticed the question mark in the Nikoshi's name. And you might be wondering why. Well, I'm not sure if this is Nikoshi's part, because in IcEDCave's showcase video, Nicoshi is nowhere to be seen, but in the level itself we can see Nikoshi's name, so I don't know. But anyways, the hardest click in this part is the 43 gap. And I'm gonna be honest with you, this click wasn't that hard for me. Like, don't get me wrong, I struggled with this click as well a lot, but overall I just got very consistent at it. Even though I did die a lot of times here, it just always felt like a fair click, honestly. One more thing I want to talk about is this ball right here, which I know a lot of people hate, but in my opinion it's very easy, like I don't really get the hate. But although it is very annoying when you die to the ball from 0, because it's a wasted river attempt, honestly. Here we are, River, the most diabolical part in the whole level. River is mostly divided into 2 parts. We have the 49 to 54 wave, the most inconsistent shit of all time. And yes, somehow this is worse than the first wave. And 54 to 57, which is a bit better than 49 to 54, but still it is very chokeable. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you, for me, River got very consistent, except one little thing, the River transition. To be fair though, this is a lot better than the first wave transition, but it's still very bad. Usually, when I would play from 0 and get to River, I would always die to 50 or 51, at least 5 or 6 times per session. And if I passed it at least once, I would always pass River and maybe even Iris and just get to Cuber instantly. Of course, there would be times where I would also die at 53, 55, 56, like it wasn't always that easy. Now, before we move on to the next part, there's still one more thing I want to talk about. The 53% click. Or clicks, should I say? Anyways, now this is the second hardest click in River in my opinion, and it is very chokeable. Now, in the early days of Slaughterhouse, I used to struggle with this click a lot. But over time, the more I kept playing, the more it got consistent. So if you were like me and you were struggling with this click, don't worry about it, man, it's gonna get consistent at one point. Just like any other part, Iris has two problems, the 60% UFO click and the 63% wave. Now, the 60% click is one of the hardest clicks in the level in my opinion because of the two reasons. The River exit and the fixed hitbox. Now, what I mean by this is that the River exit is extremely hard and frustrating because you don't really have time to breathe since you also have to do the first wave, Nikoshi's part and the whole River itself without a break. As for the fixed hitbox, I don't really know what the fuck happened here, because who in their right mind thought it was a good idea to add a fixed hitbox here? This stupid hitbox makes this click a top 1, I swear, man. Anyways, now 63% is again a really hard click, but it's very manageable honestly. If you struggle with this click from 0 or Star Pause, I recommend trying this challenge, which should help a bit with the consistency. I died to this click quite a lot of times and it always feels terrible when you die here. Before we move on to Cuber, I want to talk about this straight fly for a bit. First of all, thank god it exists, man. It's the only break part in the level where you can actually breathe for a bit. Second, if your best is around 60% and you're nervous about dying here from 0 and waste your least percent attempt, trust me man, that is not gonna happen. The ship is a lot more doable with nerves than you think. I did die here once however and it did feel terrible, but the reason for my death was because my finger slipped off the key. Just like River, Cuber is divided into two parts, 77 to 82 and 83 to 90. We will get back to 74 to 77 later on. 77 to 82 was definitely the hardest part in Cuber for me. It's extremely inconsistent and very hard from 0 with nerves. Now 83% to 90 is also pretty chokeable, but still better than 77 to 82. The only hard thing in this part is the 83% wave and also the 86% gap. 83% is such a bad wave in my opinion. It feels completely out of place and just not good overall. And it's also the hardest wave in Cuber when it comes to nerf control, honestly. Now, for the 86% gap, this click wasn't really that hard for me, honestly. I've seen a lot of people struggle with this click and somehow I'm the only one who just never really had a problem with it. But I'm not complaining though. The hardest clicks in Cuber were 75% and 81%. For me, 81% was... yeah, not very good. As for 75%, we already have two terrible transitions at the first wave and River. Surely we can't mess up for the third time, right? Eventually these clicks got consistent. But you know what didn't? Mr. CdMusic, what is wrong with you? You already made 2 terrible levels. One that made me want to fucking kill myself. And now you made this? Why? Also, if you're wondering how do I know that -Dry is terrible since I haven't beaten it, well, we should just go ahead and ask my 2 friends what do they think about -Dry. Alright, so I'm here with my very good friend Cyrus.
Hello.
And we're gonna ask him a couple of questions about -Dry. First of all, what do you think about the level itself? Is it good? Is the balancing alright? What can you tell us? No. No, why did he leave? What about you, Martin? What do you think about -Dry?
Bro, you kidding me? This is the worst level in the fucking game, bro!
Anyways, jokes aside, this part is most likely not even built by CD when it comes to gameplay, since IcEDCave did say that the gameplay was done by him mostly. Out of all the 3 cubes though, this is probably the best one, since the gameplay syncs very well to the clicks at least. The only advice I can give you for this part is visual cues. There are a couple of them which make the part a bit easier. At 93% you can use this little thing right here to jump from and it makes the click a bit easier. You can also use show trajectory to see how early or late you need to click here. For the final 2 clicks, pay attention to these circles. They make it a whole lot more manageable. And there you have it. That's every single part done. Now it's finally time to talk about my experience with the level itself. And oh boy, you better get ready of what is about to come because you have never seen anything like this before. I'm going to be speaking only in this period after I got 92%, since that's when everything went downhill. There were 5 main reasons why it took me so long to beat Slaughterhouse. Number 1, mind blocks. Number 2, lack of motivation. Number 3, med school. Number 4, numb hands. And finally, desk problems. Even though you can already tell what most of these mean, I still want to talk about each of them since they have a lot more depth than you think. Starting with the first one, we have mind blocks. My mind blocks were 21%, drop transition, 51%, and 81%. Now, for some unknown reason, and I swear out of all the billions of brains, only mine is capable of doing this. If I were to stay with someone in VC on Discord and they would say something like
Iar am murit la clicul ăla de la 61 pe Firewall Game, ești... Bă, mă auzi? Poți să-mi dai și mie 2 milioane până ieri, bă, că trebuie să-mi duc porcul atunci.
Nu am de unde mă să dau toate dracu, sărac mort, lipit. My brain would be like, where is 61% in Slaughterhouse? Oh yeah, right here. Time to be mind blocked there. Now obviously I'm not blaming my friends, this is just my brain doing interesting things. Coming in number 2, we have lack of motivation. And I'm sure a lot of you can relate to this one. Not a lot of explanation is needed here, but every single time I tried starting a session around this time, I was feeling so disgusted in a way that I can't explain. And the more my attempts kept rising, the worse it got. Also, there is one more thing. Actually 2, sorry. Before every session, it felt like my brain was spinning a wheel of mind blocks. It always seemed to like landing on 21% and the drop transition. Here is a list of every mind block that the wheel could land on. And man, this wheel haunted me ever since I got 92%. There wasn't one session where I could play peacefully without any mind blocks. And as a result, this led to me being stuck in a mind block loop for months. But here's the ironic part. That wheel created a whole new problem. Every time I started playing from 0 and reached the drop or river, a small voice in my head would whisper, "Get ready to fall to those mind blocks again." And when I think about it now, it's not even funny, it's just sad. Number 3, med school. Some of you already know this one, but I am studying for med school. And yeah, it's not easy. Besides that, I also have to go to school, study and do some solo lectures. All these combined made me lose focus and energy while trying to start sessions in the evening, which in result it led to me losing more consistency. At number 4, we have numb hands. This is where things are starting to get bad. Numb hands were a big problem for me, but first let's talk about what does numb hands actually mean. Well, it's basically when you have trouble clicking fast. Besides that, your hands also feel cold even though they aren't. It's a very weird feeling that I can't really explain. I tried everything, warming up on easier extremes, on high CPS levels. I even tried playing other games, but nothing ever worked. This is also a big reason why I couldn't do the first wave consistently, since that's the wave that requires the highest CPS out of all of them. And finally, we have desk problems. I'll try my best to explain this one, but basically whenever I held or clicked hard, my desk would start squeaking. Here is an example. Even though it doesn't sound very loud, trust me, it's a lot worse IRL. And man, let me tell you, it was not pleasant hearing this sound every day, especially on the pre-drop, since that's where I can hear it the loudest due to the music being low. And now you might be wondering, why don't I just get a new desk? Well, let's just say that it wasn't exactly easy to convince my parents. But eventually, on the 30th April, I finally got a new desk, and despite me getting bullied by my friends, I still believe this is a big reason on why the completion was so delayed. And guess what? Just 2 days later after the arrival of this beauty, I finally managed to beat Slaughterhouse. And to make things even more interesting, I got both 95 and 100 in the same day, bro. I don't know how to explain, but the level felt so much smoother, man. The first wave was more consistent, the river felt cleaner, Cuber felt the same though, but you get my point. There are a lot more reasons on why the completion was so delayed besides these 5, such as being far and not being able to focus due to my body doing some very interesting things, or me hearing random things outside. If you stayed on my streams, you know what I'm talking about here. Overall, I think Slaughterhouse is arguably one of the worst levels for a new hardest, and yes, somehow, I can't believe I'm about to say this, but this is worse than Edge of Destiny. Now look, I'm not saying that any other levels from the top 20 are better, but trust me, man, Slaughterhouse is just not worth it, man. Slaughterhouse is such a bad level. You're gonna make progress very fast on it and it will give you hope into thinking that you can actually beat it soon. But in reality, once you get to Iris or Cuber from 0, that's when the real challenge begins with this level. It becomes extremely demotivating. You're gonna be mind blocked at everything and you will just lose your mind. Just take a look at how many people have bliss percent and haven't managed to finish this. The only times I would actually recommend this level is if you have a good mental. If you don't, then don't even think about going for this. How do I know if I have a good mental? Well, just think about that one level where you tried your absolute hardest to beat and you ended up losing your mind over it. Picture this, I got my first 25 to 100 on 30th October 2025. It took me 6 more months to finish this, just so you can have a better understanding on how difficult it actually is to finish this. Now that you finally know what I've been through all these months, it's time for the completion. Before that though, I wanna apologize in advance if my editing style felt repetitive. I tried my absolute hardest to make this as entertaining as possible, as mentioned before. Thank you for listening. Enjoy the completion.
România, omul care aduce hitul. Eu, Dănuțul vostru, am o bombă muzicală din partea șmecherilor calificați pentru gușterii cu parfum de femeie. Rupe boxele! Când am rancolat, fără năță mână, de fapt ele nu puceți cântală. Îți dădeam să dai mai mult decât alții și plecai la cirtă să dai de calma. De la mâna mea gata, e distanța de fapt mare. Tu scrie de mică, rosa de peste dosare. Mi-a venit prea bine să mă fut, am fost răbdat la fătă, totorina pe cel mai apropiat. Ai făcut rău, mai pus sub cheie, cumpărăți haine de femeie. Tu ești boban, ești panalamă, un șmecher cu parfum de damă. Ai făcut rău, mai pus sub cheie, cumpărăți haine
Ce ți-am zis?
Bă, ți-am zis, du-te în pula aia ta, bă, ți-am zis că-l bat, bă!
Care vreți?
Bravo!
Bravo, bă!
Dă-te drept.
Bă, de ce răspunde cu el? Bă, și acum trebuie încă 3 mese.
M-a bătut, bă,
Bă!
N-ai. Bă, de ce ai pus așa de mare?
Zi, bă!
Bravo, bă, ești!
What I'm about to show you right now is the POV from the Discord VC and the TikTok stream. However, there are two problems. Kalinos has a double monitor setup and his recording was on his main monitor, while his second monitor was on Discord. The video is pretty much frozen, as you can see. So what I did was I overlapped the voice recordings to the completion, so it kind of makes sense if you get what I mean. As for the TikTok problem, Rapid only managed to record the first half of the reaction, while Haya recorded the other one. So I had to combine them both. You will see in a little bit what I mean.
Gata, mă, e la Eris, să moară copiii, îl bat.
Să moară copiii tăi de
Să moară 2-3 mese.
Bă, ce mă?
Go!
Go! Bă!
Bă, îl bate, să moară, bă!
Moare la bătut?
Ce mă, 95?
Bă!
Dacă te-ai...
Bă, l-a bătut?
Bă!
L-a bătut, l-a bătut!
95.
Ce ți-am zis, bă? Ce ți-am zis?
L-ai bătut, bă! Ce-am zis eu? Bă, ți-am zis, du-te în pula aia! Bă, ți-am zis că-l bat, bă! Bravo, bă, și ești!
Holy fuck! Oh my god! He's at the last cube! Oh my god! Oh my god, it just beat it! What the fuck?
Bă, ți-am zis, du-te în pula aia ta! Bă, ți-am zis că-l bat!